kick it back. It's the Laid Back and Lazy Podcast.
This, ladies and gentlemen, to all of our worldwide viewers, is Mr. Wayne Bryant, esteemed brother to my friend A.J. Bryant.
All right.
We also have a third Bryant that's also involved in this massive podcast
Yeah, we
project.
should talk about that. That's a good idea.
The third brother, Matt.
Matt is our very talented video editor.
He is.
That's
He
what
knows
he
a
does
lot.
for a living, so he's very good at it. Yeah.
Right. And this fella here is home from Mississippi,
That's right.
Yeah.
visiting family and friends. Probably not having a very good time while doing it, from what I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah, right.
When I
Too much fun? What's that mean?
there's no such thing. There's no such thing.
It's
So-
like too much money.
You've been in Mississippi 3 years, you said, huh?
Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your property. How many acres you on?
We're on 17 acres.
There you go.
Yeah, it all happened real fast. You know, I was living out in Kansas City for my job, and
I remember that.
Yeah.
yeah, we had twins on the way.
Yeah.
Uh,
Twins' names are very cool. So tell us their names real quick.
Jackson and Daniel.
That sounds like something else I know.
It does. It sounds like some kind of world famous whiskey.
Well, we were still in Missouri at that point, actually.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
Those are cool names, though.
Yeah,
But
that's
anyway,
cool.
I interrupted you. You said you were
Hey,
in St.
you
Louis.
good?
And
we were out in Kansas City. The kids were born in they're in NICU, you know, they're preemies, and we had to get a house because we were moving. And we had one house we loved, and it fell through. So we basically bought this house sight unseen because our kids were in the hospital. We were going there every day to see them, and
you're kidding me.
one day we both had a little bit of a head cold, you know, and we were like, we don't want to go in there with, you know, a bunch of little kids everywhere. So we jumped in the car, drove all the way down, saw the place for the first time, even though we'd already signed the paperwork, you know.
Well, here we go.
Yeah. But as soon as we got there, we were just like, yeah, this is it. This is what we were looking for.
You just
So-
saw pictures.
Yep.
Pictures of it and the property and all that?
Yep.
And said, let's do it?
Yep, pretty much. I sent my realtor over there, but you know he's towards the end of his career and not very tech savvy, so the videos we got were a little grainy. So we had to really go see it for
His
ourselves.
flip phone
you know?
did not take the best video.
So that worked out. It worked
did.
out for you. You love the property. You like the house.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. It's weird down there though because there's no basements. So the people there before us had a pottery business, and they're making pottery. Had 18-wheeler dock and a little barn down there with a half bath in it. So we call that our basement.
Really?
Put a pool
Yeah.
table down in there, and when people come to visit, it's got set up with a bed.
I've been there, and
everything.
it is an amazing spot. They've got a guest room in there. Like you could just go hang. You want to get out. You can just go to his house one day. He's got the setup down there. It's got a nice. Is that a ping pong table in there?
It's a pool
He's got
table.
a pool table with a ping pong setup you can put on top of it. He's got a little bar in the corner. He's got a bathroom in there, a kitchen, and a bedroom
Wow.
in his barn. Then
Like
you go
a
to the other side of the barn. It's a whole
Studio
workshop.
apartment.
You
Pretty
could live
much.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going when my wife kicks me out.
So listen, this pottery business must have been pretty big back in the day if they had an
Yeah.
18-wheeler dock and they had
Yeah.
their own building dedicated
It's,
to it.
it's actually bigger.
Do you know the name of did they leave any old pottery around, and like was there a brand on it?
It was.
I put you on the spot there.
They had two brands actually because you go to different spots around the property and there's just piles of broken stuff where something didn't work right and the
Yeah.
pottery fell apart right. And I think one time it was called Love's Pottery.
Loves pottery. Okay.
I'm not really sure what they call it now. I would have to look.
But that's cool. That's a cool story.
It is neat, huh?
That's nice. 17 acres, a lot of fun, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
I heard you have a side by side or something.
Yeah, we went out and got a Polaris Ranger. You know, we had talked about it for the longest time and drove the kids around down the property with a golf cart, and it's just so hilly and
Yeah.
dangerous. And got to the point where I'm like, we never leave the house. I need a house car.
Yeah.
So
A house car.
we went out and got a house car. And
when
that's
you
what
have
we call it.
17 acres and the kids' legs only move so fast. So yeah, that makes sense.
They'll
Right.
walk the whole property though. We
Yeah.
tried to do it probably 3-4 times a week, as long as the weather's good.
Yeah.
They go for a walk at about noon, and
So
they hit that nap hard.
your travel there was through Mississippi or Missouri, right? So you grew up here, obviously. We all
Right.
grew up here, right? And then he moves to Missouri, okay? And then he goes to Mississippi. So you probably had a little bit of a transition there for that. But what's for people that are from Medina County or northeastern Ohio? What is the biggest difference between Mississippi and here? Like, is it a cultural thing? Is it land? Is it all the above? Like,
All the
what's the
above.
biggest thing that you notice? Like, what's the crazy
Well,
part of it?
The bang for your buck. I mean, for
Yeah.
one thing, I'd have to be a millionaire to get the place I'm at now. I mean, it's just you can't get that much property with a house and with barns and outbuildings, right?
So there's
And,
a lot more land, less people. So
Yeah.
there's a lot more available.
Yeah.
in
and it's
larger lots.
It's slow, very
People are
slow
slower.
living.
That's
Yeah.
a true thing.
Yeah,
The
that's a
South is-
South thing for sure.
I lived in North Carolina for like 10 years, Charlotte.
Yeah,
Lived in a area called Lake Norman.
Lake Norman.
Lake Norman,
Yeah.
big old lake. If you go south on 77 to Florida, you cut right through the middle of Lake Norman.
Yeah, I've done that.
That's where I
Bunch.
lived. That's where I lived. In like the people are kind, right?
Right.
Slower pace of life. People aren't in that big of a hurry. Which
They got a laid back and lazy lifestyle.
yeah, I think that's
Very true.
That's
Very,
kind of
very
where
true.
I adopted my demeanor was in
Yeah,
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Just is it really that important? You need to get somewhere 2 minutes before, by
Right.
what honking your horn at somebody?
Well,
I mean-
if you're going the speed limit versus going 15 miles over the speed limit, it really doesn't save you that much time. If you really looked at it, it really doesn't.
Right.
I'm serious.
It's true.
Like, I mean, 5 minutes,
It's
maybe,
true. It's
maybe.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure it compounds over miles. If you're going 10, 15 miles faster over 1,000 miles, you're going to notice a difference. But 30 miles down the road or 50 miles, you're not going to notice 5 minutes, if that.
Right.
Watch
Right.
your GPS.
Right.
It doesn't change much.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to look at it.
The
But
other
yeah, it is
thing-
differently. Go ahead.
The other thing about the South is obviously the weather.
Oh,
It's
it's
probably-
so hot.
It's hot.
Oh,
right?
it's hot, huh?
Humid.
So-
I mean, you've heard. I mean, everyone says Mississippi rain, right? So
Yeah.
Okay.
it's always raining.
So
If it's not raining,
Does it rain
it's
a lot?
Humid. Oh yeah, it does.
And when it rains, is it kind of like Florida where it rains and then it's gone in an hour? Like you can't even tell that
Yeah.
it rained?
Yeah, the soil out there is just so sandy, and we're at a pretty high elevation area where there's a lot of runoff and drainage. So yeah, if it rains, it's gone. You can't even tell it really did a day or two later.
yeah, North Carolina's
wild.
red dirt.
Yep.
Red
The
dirt
clay,
road.
The clay is red,
Yeah.
red dirt, and it's like I used to tell people when they would ask me about living. Now I love living in North Carolina. It is. So I lived in a lake community, and it was 2 hours to the mountains of Asheville,
Yeah.
or Grandfather Mountain, which is Boone, Blowing Rock. Then it's like 3.5 hours to the coast, to the beach. I mean, it really is a great state. But in the north, in the wintertime, we run from heat to heat, right?
Okay.
Heated car to a heated house to a heated building.
Right.
In the south, you're running from air conditioned to air conditioned in the summer.
So the winters here are like their summers there.
Yeah.
Because you just don't want to be out in that heat all day.
They're brutal.
They are
I mean,
brutal.
Sweat, like
You need a swimming pool if you're going to be outside.
yeah.
That's what we do. We have a shed, and I'll be working, doing something, and sweating like a dog. Jump in the pool, change, get back to it.
Yeah.
Jump in the pool
Yeah.
another hour and a half later. I mean,
Cools
if you
you
want to be
down.
outside during the summer, that's
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that here in Ohio, so I can imagine, down in the heat of Mississippi, you're definitely gonna catch the
I'm talking about just
pool.
talking about dripping sweat just walking from
yeah
walk out the door and your glasses fog.
That's right. Boom. Immediately. Boom. Fog glasses.
What kind of? I'm not. I've been there and I've hung out, but I'm not. I don't remember everything as far as animal wise. Talk about the animals that you have.
Oh, jeez. Well, they're usually like a hobby, but also like this idea that maybe I can make a couple bucks.
Okay.
And then they turn into pets.
Is that how that works?
And then you're not making a buck.
Right.
So you have.
What do you have? What kind of
you just
animals?
have to expand from there to try and keep going, right? So we've got this cow that my wife absolutely loves. Her name's Ruth, and she's a Corriente,
Ruth,
which is a
Corriente.
It's like a Spanish Southern type of cow. They use them a lot in roping in the rodeos and stuff.
Really?
And we just got her a husband. His name's Norman. He's half Corriente and half Zebu, which is a weird-looking cow that's got like a hump on their back like a camel would.
Really?
And is the hump just like a camel used for storing moisture and water? Or
I would imagine so. I don't really know. I just think they look pretty cool.
It's a zebu.
So
you said zebu. I was thinking, man, does a cow have stripes? It's like zebra hybrid?
But you didn't tell the other part of the story. Did you not get that cow? Was that supposed to be a pet?
It was not, but it showed up in a dog crate, and they had already named her. So I knew I was screwed from the start.
That was going to be. It was going to be steak.
Yeah.
You're done.
You were gonna feed your family with it, but that changed quickly.
Right.
Oh, look at Ruth.
Oh, yeah.
Ruth is so beautiful.
Baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth. Baby Ruth.
She was, too. She was brown when we got her, and
Really?
she looked like a baby Ruth, and now she's nothing but black. She's black as night.
Now, is that named after, you ever seen City Slickers? So he gave birth to a cow, remember, in it? And he named it Norman. Look, I made a cow! And it was Norman.
That's interesting
Right?
because everybody always asks us that, but the truth of it is we show up with a trailer at this crazy old farm an hour away to pick them up. And the wife opens the gate and she goes, "Oh, just go back down there where Norman's at." And my wife's like, "Yep, I'm naming my cow after your husband."
So somewhere out there is a guy named Norman. He has no idea that the cow that you picked up was named after him.
Yep.
That's funny. That's some of the farmer stuff that you don't realize. Like, where'd that name come from? Well, the guy I picked him up from was named Julius, so I named it Julius.
What other animals you got on your
So we just hatched out about 13 chickens. So obviously I have some roosters along with the chickens. So got some fertilized eggs, threw them in an incubator. 21 days later, they just start popping out. Yeah. So
like popcorn.
Yeah. So we have 8 chickens that are full grown and 13 more that we're raising up, and probably just keep it going, right? And you get a couple extra and go on Facebook and get rid of them for $10 or $20, pay for your food. So
the interesting thing
he's got a regular farm at his house right now.
Well, yeah,
pretty close.
We've
to
got
a
a
farm.
bunch of ducks, a bunch of chickens,
turkeys.
Well, they're coming. 4-H is coming. We're getting turkeys and we're getting some broilers. And
how many raccoons you pick off trying to eat your chickens?
About 15 last year.
That's crazy. 15
but I've got.
raccoons.
I see. The problem was the chicken coop. I took for granted how it was and left some holes in it because the chickens never got out and we never had a problem. But the raccoons last year were so bad, and I think there was more raccoons than there was food, so they started going after chickens. So last year I did 2 things. The first thing I did was get the trail cam out and start finding them, catching them, and disposing of them. And then
you relocated them. You took them to a farm.
I did.
And released them.
Well, I didn't do that because that would be illegal.
They had plenty of room to run.
That's what Dad would have said.
I took them to
Exactly.
a sanctuary that is a private sanctuary for raccoons. So anyway, I would trap them and go take them to the private sanctuary and dispose of them and make sure that they were taken care of. So. But then I shored up the coop, so I had to board up a bunch of things, put some extra wiring, things like that. So not having that big of an issue with raccoons. I'm sure they're still out there. They walk around, but they're not getting to the chickens anymore. So I don't necessarily have to spend my time relocating them.
Yeah. On a big, beautiful farm with lots of big pastures
and
to run.
Clouds and flowers and rainbows. It's almost like paradise.
It's paradise for raccoons.
But when I was down there in Mississippi, one of the coolest things that he has is guineas.
That's right.
That is a very interesting bird. Explain to Sean and the listeners what a guinea is opposed to a chicken and how they work.
So, I mean, we got them because they look cool.
Yeah.
Some people think they look scary. They're a little weird looking, and people get them for a deterrent, really, to help with the predator animals that are going after your chickens. So they're always in a flock. They always run together, and they're always chirping, extremely loud. And they all look the same. It's just the chirp of the pitch of their chirp is the only way you can tell if they're male or female. And you can eat their eggs. They lay eggs that are a lot smaller, and the shell is probably 2-3 times thicker than a normal chicken egg.
Okay.
Yeah.
They taste similar?
I don't know. I've had some old Southern boys talk to me about eating guineas, but I don't think my wife is down for that.
What do the eggs taste like?
Just like chicken eggs. Yep.
Chicken eggs. Okay.
Same concept.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, definitely. And they do not need a coop. So
They
just
protect
roam
themselves.
every night they jump on top of the chicken coop, and they jump from that onto the tree, and then from there they just keep going up the branches all the way up. They're probably 35 feet up in the air
That's
by the
where they
time
sleep,
they're in
protect
bed.
themselves?
Yep.
Wow.
When I went down to visit in the morning, woke up, and we walked outside. He started showing me the property of the animals. And we get in between two buildings, and he looks up. So what do you? I naturally look up, and when I look up, he just starts laughing. 'Cause I was like, "Whoa, there's birds above us, and it looks like there's chickens in trees." Because they almost look like a chicken. I don't even know how to explain it.
Pheasant.
Pheasant chicken kind
br-
of like
blend?
the size of a chicken, but almost like a pheasant look. It's very odd.
I think I know.
Creature.
In my mind, I think I know what it looks like.
But
I'll Google it when we're done.
Here's the interesting thing: when it sounds like they're yelling danger.
Yep.
When there's something going on, because they'll be in a flock. We were walking, and there was a flock right by the lake, the pond that he has. Then all of a sudden, they all start going nuts, and they're like danger, 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 danger.
Yep.
And then you saw them all just kind of like move in a group, and then they all just flew, like ducks. They just
What
took
was
off.
it? What spooked them?
I don't
Who
know.
knows? Could have been a snake. Could have been anything. But they're known to eat snakes. They'll kill snakes.
Really?
They eat a lot of the bugs, your ticks and stuff you worry about with the dogs.
Nice.
It's
That's great.
So what you're saying is everybody needs guineas.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good.
They
answer.
don't need a coop. They just need a tree.
And you don't. Yeah.
You fish in your pond?
Not yet. I'd love to stock it, but at this point,
Is there anything
I've
in
got
there?
too many hobbies that I don't have time for it. I'd like to put some catfish in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but right
some
now
nighttime
we just got a bunch of frogs and snakes in there. So
Okay.
Water moccasin?
Moccasin.
haven't seen any of those. Just yellow belly water snakes up there. Luckily,
Really?
Yeah.
In North
you did
Carolina.
see a copperhead.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a copperhead. He sent me a picture of a copperhead.
Is there a lot of Mississippi deer down there?
There are. They're a lot smaller though.
Yeah, they're not.
But I mean,
Yeah.
they take them out like hotcakes. They're just ready to fill the freezer. I mean,
There's
the
a
limit is pretty high.
There's a reason people come to the Midwest to hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whitetail.
they're big.
Yeah.
They're big.
Yeah,
well, they're eating.
Even in North Carolina, they're just.
Well, and the
they're small-
racks aren't
they're
as
smaller.
big either because they have so much more brush out in that type of
Right.
Okay.
type of land, right?
So that's how that works.
Yep.
So they're not eating as much, and there's a lot more stuff to rub on. Is that what it is, or?
I guess so. In the overtime evolution, or however all that works, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, back to snakes.
Yeah.
So we were on this big property, and I had just tilled a food plot for the guy, and so just red dirt, right? And we're walking out there with the kids and our neighbors, which are very good friends of ours, and he just goes, "Snake!" And we stop cold, right? 10 feet in front of us is a copperhead that's probably 4 or 5 foot long.
Holy smokes, man.
And he's just cruising along with his big gold eyes. I mean, gold as can be.
Really?
And he just went right across the trail or right into the woods and never even cared that we were there.
Now, I heard that they're not very aggressive.
They are not.
He's the dominant. He knows.
So that's why he doesn't have to be
Nobody's
aggressive.
going to mess with me.
Right.
He's like Tiny, the
That
guy
thing
on
will
your
kill
football
everything.
team.
Thing will kill everything but a bullet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
But luckily, we
tiny on your football team.
Tiny on your football team. Like, he knows he doesn't. He could be the nice guy because he knows he could just squish you.
Yep. So we've seen those. We've seen timber rattlers. Haven't seen one of those alive. Somebody had just killed one or hit it in the road and it was hanging on a fence. The only venomous snakes we've seen at our actual property at our house have been the water moccasins, cottonmouths, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah. I heard those things are aggressive.
They're pretty creepy looking, and
They'll come
I think they're
at
aggressive if you egg them on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, when somebody gets bit, it's because they're either messing with a snake or they're trying to kill the snake. So we kind of, my wife follows a snake page on Facebook, and we've kind of learned a lot about the venomous snakes since we've been down there and learned how to respect them a little bit more and and what to look out for. But it's still in the back of your head. You're worried about it, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time, stuff happens because somebody's screwing around with the snake in the first
They're
place.
more afraid of you than you are of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that TV show Lucky to Be Alive?
Yeah, I've heard of
You
it.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There was one where there's a woman grabbing wood from her wood pile.
Okay.
And she just reached down, grabbed a piece of wood, and she got smacked by a rattler. To Wayne's point about learning about snakes, it's almost like you probably are very aware of where you're stepping and what you're grabbing. Going in your barn and checking the corners and things like that before you let your boys run around.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of your boys, you know your boys, the arrival of your boys gave me a massive opportunity in life. I became the backup best man
That's right.
At my wedding, yeah.
at your
That's
big
right.
brother's wedding.
And in fact, in Missouri, didn't you, not to go off topic here, but another thing that he did, Bobcat, was that Missouri or was that Mississippi?
Oh, that was Mississippi. Yeah.
Mississippi.
You got a bobcat on your property?
My brother-in-law got a bobcat when he was deer hunting, and we pulled the back straps out of that thing, and they were amazing.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you keep the skin of that bobcat?
He's got it in his freezer. Yep.
The skin?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So that's up here in Ohio.
Yep. But it looks like
Bobcat skin.
They look just like a giant house cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a lot more
cooler.
dangerous.
Yeah.
My buddy just bought like 90 acres in southern Ohio for hunting property.
Nice.
He's got a bobcat on his land. He said, when you hear it scream, it's like a
It sounds like it sounds like somebody getting abducted or something. Like it
Exactly.
is scary.
Really, it's kind of a if you could move this, because I know we both lived in Nashville for a time, and being music guys, it's almost like home because there's so many people that have the same interests. So like everybody's a friend there because everybody has the same hobby. So there's so much to share and talk about, but it's still not home. It's not northeastern Ohio. And the one thing that I forgot about when I lived in the South and then I moved back, and you could probably appreciate this too, is you really enjoy the seasons because when winter's going on, it gives you time to just get some things done on the inside, do some things that you don't have time to in the summer, whatever. And then right when you're just sick and tired of the winter, it changes in your summer. Now you're cutting lawn, you're weed eating, you're having cookouts, you're doing all that stuff, and that's great. And but then you get your fill, and you're like, I just want to relax in the house for a little bit, and then weather changes, and you're right back to it. So that was the one thing I thought I wouldn't miss, but I did miss, and I didn't realize that until I moved back.
fun.
I miss it. That's why I miss home. But
Yeah.
I'm still in the South, and we love it there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
There's what they call plantation pine out there, which is they'll just plant pine trees and harvest them after about 30 years. They call it the Pine Belt down in the South.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest cash crops. So we've got a property next door. It's about 90 acres, and a property down the road that's about 150. And they lease it out for hunting. So since I'm down the road, the guy that leases it out, reached out to me and said, can you take care of it for me? So I go out there and I cut all the trails. I'll till the plots for him, and in turn, he lets me use the property. So we take the house car out there and go tooling around, whether it's late at night or in the middle of the day with the kids.
So even though you have 17 acres on your property,
I have access to a couple hundred.
So now, so it's just
That's nutty. That's
just
fun.
in the country, totally. So you go from a little 7 acres in Valley City growing up to
flat
to flat in Missouri, right?
Yep.
Because it was just like cornfields out there, right?
Yeah.
To this hilly, weird, swampy / hot / like 17-acre wooded lot. That's what happens when you live the laid back and lazy lifestyle.
That's right.
That you live.
All right, Mr. Wayne, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, buddy.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Wayne
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Bryant.